A good visual effects shot doesn't match the way the world looks to your naked eye, but rather how it is photographed by a camera. Here's a sequence that emphasizes the emotional reality of this climactic scene at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This is not how it would look to your naked eye, but shot with a camera, it is powerful both for what it allows us to see and also for what it leaves out. By looking at the camera itself, and this applies to any camera body and lens, including this older Canon 7D with a Tamron 24 to 70 millimeter zoom, there are specific things we can identify that the camera sees and records, and your eyes and brain do not. The camera has three distinct parts, each of which contributes specific cinematic qualities to an image. The back, also known as the camera body or sensor, the lens, which may be a prime with a fixed length, or a variable zoom like the one you see here, and the opening, which helps establish the field of view and may also include a filter that controls or limits what wavelengths of light are admitted. The sensor creates a frame for the image with a specific shape and size. Along with the chip, it determines light sensitivity and thus the color dynamics of the image. The sensor can add grain, particularly in the shadows and low light areas of an image. The speed at which it gathers the image and duration of the shutter determine the quality and intensity of motion blur, something that is much more fixed with your naked eye. The back interacts with the lens to determine the focal length of the image. The smaller the sensor, the less depth of field, all other things being equal. You can learn all about how to match and manage grain in the After Effects Compositing 2 Matching Foreground to Background course. Relighting an element and motion blur are covered in After Effects Compositing 3 Advanced Matching and Looks. The light gathering ability of the lens determines depth of field effects. Your eye produces these as well, but they're not exactly adjustable. The length of the lens determines distortion and perspective. The lens can even introduce what one might call errors, not just distortion, but lens flares, vignettes, and bokeh blur, none of which are created by the naked eye. In After Effects Compositing 3, Advanced Matching and Looks, I show you how to match a lens. Working with lens distortion doesn't simply mean removing it, as it is often an intentional look, but you do need to match elements to it, which means removing it as you work and applying it to undistorted elements you add to the final distorted shot. The same course also covers some beautiful lens flares, including bokeh blur effects, lens vignettes, and even color looks. Bokeh blur is the look that Vincent Laforet featured in Reverie, the short film that launched the entire DSLR revolution by showing what was possible with the then brand new Canon 5D Mark II. As we'll revisit in the next lesson, this was a prime example of where less can be much more. Finally, let's focus, so to speak, on the opening or front of the lens. This is where the field of view, also known as the lens angle, determines the angle of vision, also known as how wide or tight the shot is. Now, in order to work with a shot from a movie like this one, Amelie, you would need to recreate the effect of a wide-angle lens, whereas this shot from The Graduate famously uses a narrow, long lens to make it feel like Benjamin is running almost in place as he tries to get to the chapel to stop Elaine from getting married. The lens opening also admits light, and any filter on the front will change the quality of light of the shot by reducing what passes through the lens. So a real camera differs not only from your eye, but from a virtual 3D camera, such as the one in After Effects, or in software like Maya and Cinema 4D used to create fully articulated animation. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Transformers movies, but this one got ILM an Oscar based on the astonishing optical look of the computer-generated editions. In the next lesson, we'll look at the tools and techniques in After Effects to create beautiful, compelling images that mimic or even enhance what a camera would capture.